Hello. First of all, allow me to thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with you my story with our holy founder, Saint John Baptist de La Salle. Saint John Baptist de La Salle is a wonderful manifestation of God's providential love for me. He is the incarnation of the banner that I have been carrying since I started my college days. It says, Primum Regnum Dei, seek you first the kingdom of God, and everything will be added unto you. You know, I have seen this unfolding in my Lasallian journey through the different events in my life as a Lasallian, and of course, through the many persons that I have encountered in my journey. I would want to consider Saint John Baptist de La Salle as both a message and a messenger from God. I arrived at these thoughts when he spoke to me in my dream many years ago. You know, at the time, I was making a decision whether to accept the invitation to take part in the Lasallian Summer Studies Institute in Bacolod for 2 summers to study about his life. At first, I was really hesitant to accept the invitation because at the time, I had still growing up kids, and I think my youngest was only 4 years old then. Now, in that dream, I found myself inside a big cathedral, which later on I recognized as similar to the Cathedral of Reims when we went there in 2008. It was in that cathedral where Saint John Baptist de La Salle was baptized and would go to Mass and later on serve as a canon. What made me certain that it was him was when he showed in the big screen the different children all over the world and stopped at the screen where the Filipino children are shown and asking, who will take care of these children? That dream made me say yes to the invitation to take part in the Lasallian studies, which led me to embrace the Lasallian mission. I would consider him or my relationship with him as that of a spiritual guide. He would always be there, especially during those times that I have to make important decisions in my work. I would always feel that I am being led to a path where I am supposed to go. Now, as a teacher, I would see that Saint John Baptist de La Salle is a wellspring of God's love. As I experience desert moments in my spiritual journey, I first met him through a letter of invitation to a prayer meeting of the Signum Fidei Association, where I was given a copy of the Signum Fidei Style of Life. In that style of life, it would contain one of the letters of Saint John Baptist de La Salle to his brothers that says, you are ambassadors of Christ in the work that you do, so you must act as representing Jesus Christ himself. The letter of Saint John Baptist de La Salle was quite heavy, as it posed a great challenge to us as teachers, and that is to represent Jesus Christ in the classroom. Thus, this should entail to me, for me knowing who Jesus is and how did he go about as he preached to his disciples during his time. This prompted me to deepen my relationship with Jesus through the scriptures and through the Eucharist. Thus, I found myself every day attending masses as much as I can. I really took it quite seriously, that every time that I stepped into the classroom, I would always think how I would bring Jesus to my students. The most vivid thing that I could show is how I would regard my students, learning from the ways of Jesus Christ as exemplified by John Baptist de Lasalle. I would always regard my students with gentleness and compassion. As Saint Lasalle puts it into his words, to touch the hearts of your students is the greatest miracle that you can perform. Yes, it has raised the level of my consciousness that my work as a teacher is a gift from God. That is of great importance to take good care of this gift, as this represents the giver himself, which was meant to make his presence felt by my students as I go about doing my tasks. I regard my classroom as a sacred space where my students are seen as letters from God, as Saint Lasalle would say it. No? Thus, they are God's faces to me. Sometimes I would experience these feelings. No? I would cringe at the thought of being entrusted with such young and brilliant minds with beautiful souls. At times I would feel unworthy to be given such opportunity, that I could only say with deep gratitude how blessed I am to take part in this mission. And so at this point, I would like to express how grateful I am for choosing me as one of His own. I may be far from being perfect, but I would like to borrow His words that I will continue to commit myself in this ministry as far as I am able and as far as God would require of me. Thank you.